How can you make how can you make employee recognition fair? Can you make employee recognition fair? This is the Culture Clinic, where my co-founder Joe and I are constantly learning from HR experts on how to build a culture where people love to work. My name is Skai, and I'm one of the co-founders here at Guusto. Today, we're joined by Shelley Da Costa, a 30-plus year HR expert in rewards and recognition.
Hi.
Shelley, let's dive into today's topic, equitable recognition. So what does it actually mean to have an equitable recognition program?
We often talk about equitable in our rewards programs. We want to make sure that our compensation programs are equitable, or we want to make sure that our benefits programs are fair and equitable across the board. But we don't often talk about equitable when it comes to recognition, right? Because we base our recognition programs so much on wanting to reward people going above and beyond. So it may then turn around that, not everyone is going to be rewarded because they may not have that opportunity or may not be going above and beyond. So that points me to think, okay, do you want your programs to be equitable? Well, maybe not so much equitable in terms of looking at your numbers and making sure everybody receives something, but the opportunity to be equitable.
Yeah, so it kind of strikes me as the opportunity to even be recognized, and
Correct.
So
yeah,
depending on kind of where they might be located, or whether they're working in the office or remotely or frontline or headquarters, and just being able to participate in that program. And we often see organizations that start with top-down programs, right? And so it's not completely equitable in the sense that not all employees are participating in a peer-to-peer program. And that's okay, because it often kind of makes more sense to not take a tiny budget and spread it across the entire employee base, but let's kind of manage your program kind of dialed in first. So they might not be participating in the sense of making recognition, but at least having the opportunity for them to kind of participate in being recognized.
Correct. And you could even take it to, there's the opportunity physically, like you touched on, in terms of frontline workers, where it's a little bit tougher to kind of reach out or see what they're doing, right? Say in healthcare, where they're working with patients, and that leader may not be able to see the interaction that employee has on a day-to-day basis with the family that they're dealing with, or what have you. And so there's that kind of a physical ability to be able to still recognize people that aren't in front of a desk or a laptop computer all day long. But then there's also the opportunity side. So even if it's leader top down, are your employees given opportunities to shine? So the work that they're doing, does it include projects? Is it some good learning, juicy projects to be working on, so that you in turn can watch how they develop, watch how they contribute, and watch how they, excel, so that you could then in turn as their leader recognize them.
Another area that might cause kind of challenges is one where some rules have a very kind of like measurable component to it. You think about kind of sales rules, right? And often there's a variable kind of compensation component for those rules. And so how do you think about kind of creating kind of equitable recognition programs where if they are kind of like results based, it's a little bit kind of tougher to measure. Have you seen challenges with this?
Yeah, in most cases, it's really important to look at your full reward structure, right? So all of your components that you have for leaders to recognize and reward people. So, for example, the sales piece, most likely you've got some kind of an incentive-based program as well. So when the salespeople are hitting their numbers, they're being recognized or rewarded through their incentive pay or some other variable pay component. So a lot of the times it's really helpful when the recognition program is tied to opportunities for all employees across the board. So I love to see when recognition programs are tied to behaviors you want to see amongst your employees, as in team-based behaviors, or behaviors that align with your culture, so values and things like that, so that you're recognizing somebody for stepping up and helping, or you're recognizing somebody for being brave and taking on a new project and learning, because that's part of your new values in your organization. And that way everybody has that opportunity, and it's more than likely something that isn't necessarily rewarded in your other components. I mean, obviously, it could form part of your performance review and therefore form part of an annual bonus or an adjustment in your base salary. But it's those moments where you're really seeing that this person is epitomizing the behaviors we want in our organization. I want to capture that. I want to recognize that, so that I'm incentivizing them to do it again and again and again and take that on, and others around see what they were just rewarded for, and they too can feel, oh wow, so next time there's an opportunity, I can put my hand up and work on that project.
So how can you tell if people are being recognized fairly at your company or not? Like, what signs can you look for?
Participation levels are definitely going to be something. Look at the social media content around recognition. Are people posting, hey, I just got recognized, and now, with my Guusto gift card, I just bought a steamer, lattes for everybody tomorrow, I'm bringing into the office, or, that kind of energy, believe it or not, that occurs. I think that's where you can see it, what people are pleased about and talking about. Then you can start to see the energy created. It's always, you're looking at your any potential exit interviews, you're looking at your engagement surveys to see if people are shouting out or speaking specifically about what the recognition program means to them, and whether they think it's fair or not fair or equitable. One-on-ones, discussions that leaders are having with their employees. So, how do you feel about that, or what's going on? I also love opportunities when the program allows leaders to recognize an entire team, because that's really motivating, because people will be, wow, like, I didn't realize that just by being on this team and working with these people, I would be recognized for the work we did as a whole. And now you'll start to see people say, well, that was great being part of that team. I want to do it again and again. And you have that repeat behavior.
What kind of guidance can you give people to help them recognize in a more equitable way without being too prescriptive?
So I think it's, tick the boxes in terms of a fair and equitable recognition program, right? Do your communication, make sure it's transparent, all of those pieces. But in particular, look to the kinds of things around your D&I, your diversity, your inclusivity, and your employees. Ensure that you're training up the leaders on how to use the product and how to use the platform and how to recognize and what your organization is looking for to recognize people for. Are they behaviors? Are they, like you said, is it service awards? Is it tied to completion projects? What have you? But then also give a lot of thought to the fact that there's, a population of employees that you might not be able to see every day, or that leader can't see every day. How are you going to work with that? Like, think of all of that. And we often say, also look for your unsung heroes in the organization and have your leaders make sure that they are looking for those, right? It's so easy to reward and recognize people that are impacting what we call, the bottom line, or bringing in more money for the organization, as opposed to looking to the people that are the unsung heroes, that are demonstrating the values and behaviors that you want all your employees to demonstrate on a day-to-day basis, and how they're treating the customer and the client, or how they're showing up, all of those pieces. So you want that awareness in your leaders and in your program, lots and lots and lots of communication. Set that baseline, but then always be communicating and always be training and having that discussion. It's great. I see sometimes forums where leaders are talking to one another about the recognition program and how they're talking to their employees about it in their one-on-ones, and what it feels like, and how do they feel recognized by their leader, and so on and so forth, and what it meant. Like, there's nothing better than the feedback from the opportunity for the employee to come back to the leader and say, hey, thank you for that. That was wonderful. I bought an espresso steamer, and now I'm making all my London fogs at home, and wow, thank you so much. It meant the world.
something that more and more companies are getting right now is around kind of the flexibility piece, right? And so to be equitable doesn't necessarily mean, to get everybody that coffee steamer, right? Because
milk steamer, frother, yeah.
Come on. not everybody's going to be kind of a coffee drinker, right?
Exactly.
At the same time, it's hard to know exactly what everybody wants, and then it's also hard to then do that in an equitable way, where it's like, okay, I spent X on this coffee frother steamer, and I need to spend the same on this, and so that's where kind of like just a flexible kind of reward, allowing the employee to kind of choose what is meaningful to them. Just make
absolutely, and I'm cheating a little bit because the reason I'm using that example is I was most recently rewarded with a gift card and literally went, Amazon, this is perfect, and had been looking at milk frothers and steamers and thinking, oh yeah, I guess I'll, put it on my list for Christmas. Somebody will get me one. And then suddenly I was presented with this gift card and I thought, I can buy my steamer. So somebody else would be something totally different, but there's the opportunity presents. It felt individualized when, it was $100, but it wasn't that. I was able to take that and buy something personal and important to me. I mean, it's the reverse is true, where we talked about several times of, the worst recognition is where the leader says, I'm taking you out to a game tonight, and, we're going to the basketball game, and that's the recognition. And that poor employee is like, does he know me at all? Like, I've already put in 12 hours here. The last thing I want to do is put in 4 more at a basketball game. I want to go home to my family. So, what is meaningful is when the leader acknowledges and knows their employee and is able to recognize accordingly.
Are there populations of people that are typically less recognized where we want to kind of make sure that leaders are being kind of fair and equitable?
It's sometimes the unsung heroes where the leader doesn't see what those employees are doing. I think it's those that they're going above and beyond, but it doesn't necessarily bring about a monetary value for the organization. It's not, they're not seeing it on the bottom line, which is the very obvious thing that a lot of organizations, cultures want to recognize for. So, it's kind of peeling back the layers of what their employees are doing and ensuring accessibility, if you will, to the program for everybody, and not demanding it as in a sense of all my employees will win or be recognized this year, because maybe not all of the employees are demonstrating the values that you want to recognize or going above and beyond that you have set as why you want to recognize, etc. But that the capabilities are there. So if I'm recognizing people being on a team and doing great work because they were on that team, did I ensure that all of the employees have an opportunity to be on a team or a project this year that could get recognized?
If you want more tips on how to build effective recognition programs, check out the Ultimate Employee Recognition Playbook, where we detail how to successfully launch, scale, and grow your program from start to finish. Well, thanks, Shelley, for joining us today, and thank you everyone for watching. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And don't forget to recognize somebody for a job well done today. Mucho gusto.